The college football season rolls on in the SEC. A lot of drama on the field that we'll get to, but also a lot of drama off the field as well. LSU head coach Brian Kelly out. You see the record, 34-14, but another loss this year means they were out of the college football playoff, and he is now out of a job, one of the highest buyouts ever. Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined by Patrick Walsh. Patrick, you called this last week. We were talking to Chesa Boucher, and you were asking her a question. If Brian Kelly, this game would be the next James Franklin. You suffer a game in a loss that maybe where the crowd noise and the fan noise gets a little bit louder than what's going on in the football program, and another coach out of a job.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just the telltale of what a couple of weeks difference it can make, really. Yep. I mean, I know a few weeks ago there were some rumors that Brian Kelly might go and take the Penn State job, and then everyone shot that down right away and be like, no, he's committed to building a program here. Well, 3 weeks later, Brian Kelly, as you mentioned, does not have a job anymore. I mean, it's just crazy how fast your world can flip upside down in this league. But, I mean, coming into this season, this had to be the year for him with all the talent, the talent coming back. You had Garrett Nussmeier come back, and you just didn't get it done. And it's just been a telltale of Brian Kelly's tenure here at LSU. He did great in his first year. He got that extension. And since then, I mean, he didn't finish a season with less than 2 losses, or less than 3 losses.
Correct. And the storylines coming into this season were, number one, he could not win a big opening game to start the season. And seemingly he did so against Clemson on the road. Then that win got watered down week after week after week as Clemson really struggled on the road. Then it was, could you win some of the big games? And that's where the problems were, because I think a lot of people, if you're just watching outside of the football space, you look at his record and you're like, you fired a guy that won 34 of his 48 games.
But you look at that second there. AP ranked teams 5-11. I mean, that's just, you're not going to win in the SEC when it's like that. I mean, especially not at LSU when the expectations are as high as ever.
Yeah, and if you need to know anything about LSU, Ed Orgeron, Les Miles, Nick Saban, all won national championships within the first 4 years. Ed Orgeron ended up getting fired by this program. So this program has the demands of this program are so insanely high, and the fact that where they're located. I mean, there's so much talent right there. We talk about the Florida job, but LSU. I mean, there's literally, I think per capita, if you put like a 200-mile square around Baton Rouge, most NFL players, or a lot of NFL players, most by per capita, come from that area. So recruiting, you should be able to recruit to LSU just fine, and they want to win. And next thing you know, he's now out of a head coaching job. What I find interesting is just the way all this is happening. This is now 3 SEC jobs, and I believe 7 or 8 Power 4 jobs that are now open.
Unreal.
Before Halloween. These jobs are open.
This is probably going to be commonplace now because of the transfer portal. Only one window from January 2nd to the 16th, and you've got to fire if you want to make a change. You got to fire these guys early on in the season. You got to have a short leash with them, so that way you can do your national search and get a coach in time for that transfer portal to have the right amount of time to be able to evaluate the guys that you already have, and then add some new guys that you want.
I'll ask you to put that graphic up one more time, because I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you did it this way on purpose, but left to right, is that your ranking as far as the way that these jobs are?
I did it by
chronological order. No, but honestly,
it definitely does.
Yeah, as I look at it, that's the order as far as like, hey, LSU to me is the number 1 job, Florida's the number 2 job, Arkansas is the number 3 job, and I know that's just the order chronologically. That's the order in which all those coaches were now fired. So it's going to be a really interesting development as this moves forward, and we'll talk about that a whole lot more. Our topics for today, we will include both Brian Kelly and the offensive coordinator word out today. Offensive coordinator Joe Sloan also out as well. Texas escapes in Starkville. I have no idea how. I'm still scratching my head about that one. And poor Mississippi State, they are just struggling right now.
They still covered.
They did. They covered. They probably should have won the ball game up 17 in the 4th. But we will talk about that. Also, Vanderbilt continues to rewrite history. Another win over a top 15 program. They are now in the top 10, and the new AP poll is out. Vanderbilt, several others in the house as well in that top 25 ranking. We'll break all that down. And we will do so with our guests. Lots to talk about with all three of these gentlemen. Roger Wallace, who covers the Texas Longhorns, get a big win. We will
to stay in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yes, we'll get everything from his stay in Tupelo, Mississippi, to the just unbelievable win for the Longhorns in that matchup. Also talk with Corey Curtis. He has been telling us, we have to give him his flowers. He has been telling us this entire time this Vanderbilt team was legit. They continue to prove it week after week. And Brian Brinkley from Oklahoma City, of course, the Thunder dropped the banner about this time last week, and then now the Oklahoma Sooners still trying to find some light after losing that game to Ole Miss this past week. But let's go back to Brian Kelly, because we've talked a lot about just the way college football is right now and where we stand right now. Brian Kelly out. I read a report from NOLA.com that there was a heated exchange between Brian Kelly and the athletic director, Scott Woodward. Keep in mind, Scott Woodward was the athletic director at Texas A&M.
For Jimbo Fisher.
So
how does this guy still have a job? Can we talk about this real quick?
That's the thing.
This guy is responsible for the two largest buyouts ever in college football, and ongoing $130 million worth of buyouts.
Yes, more than $70 million for Jimbo Fisher, which is the highest of all time. And now this buyout for Brian Kelly, north of $54 million, making it the second highest buyout of all time, both hired by the same gentleman. And you're right. I have no idea how Woodward still keeps his job after all of this. I know LSU fans are really passionate about what goes on the field. I think you have to be passionate about what's going on upstairs as well, because it just doesn't look good for Woodward.
Look, I mean, I'm not really surprised that Brian Kelly had a heated exchange with him, because, one, he's just a fiery guy. I mean, we saw it about a month ago when he was, flaming all the reporters, asking about the offense. Well, maybe the reporters were right all along. I mean, we've talked about it all season. What is this offense doing? Why does this offense not look like the LSU caliber offense that we're accustomed to? And he tried to, just play damage control. Oh, no. Why would you ask something like that? We won the game. Yeah, you won that game. And then you lost 2 straight to end your tenure at LSU.
So, LSU, and that offense, as you talked about, I got some numbers here. The 124th ranked offense in the country. 124th in rushing, just about 100 yards per game, 91st in red zone efficiency. And there you see some of the hard line stats there as well. 25.5 points per game. That is 12th in the SEC. The back end of the SEC as far as yards are considered as well. And we just talked about the rushing yardage last in the SEC. And you're just not used to that. You're not used to that with this program.
No.
This program puts offensive linemen and running backs in the NFL consistently every year. You add on top of that you have Gerhard Nussmeier, and you mentioned it when we started this show, the only 4,000-yard passer for a year ago that was coming back to college football was Gerhard Nussmeier. And whether it was injuries or just the lack of synergy with the offensive coordinator, he just really never looked on track for an extended period of time.
Right, and I feel like you've got to go back to, 3 years ago now when he was the starter for a year at LSU, and then Jaden Daniels came in and took over the role, and then it went back to Gerhard Nussmeier.
Right.
And it almost feels like, should we have seen this coming? I mean, you had Jaden Daniels come in from Arizona State, which that just, I didn't even mean to bring that up, because that just leads me into my next point. Brian Kelly had all this talent and didn't do anything with it.
Nothing.
Like, he had Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And literally, what they have to show for it is what? Just
3 bowl wins.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, at least he went 3-0 in bowl games.
Yeah. But this is a team that, especially now with the playoff being 12 teams, I think that's even a bigger point, because Nick Saban won it when it was the BCS and it was just 2 teams got in, and then Ed Orgeron won it when it was 14 playoff, and 2 games they ended up winning it. They have one of the greatest seasons of all time,
greatest rosters of all time too.
Oh, no doubt. And I compared this year's roster. There was a lot of similarities to what they had in 2019. Dynamic receivers on the outside, a incredible defense, and a quarterback that's seasoned, that's ready to go. You had Joe Burrow in 2019, you had Gerhard Nussmeier, and it just never really got on track there. 5-3 this year, so once again, no playoff. And barring a miracle, the playoff is completely out of contention for this football team. And I mean, they still could lose a couple more games. They still have a bye week this week. Then they have Alabama. Then they play a hungry Arkansas team, and then they play Oklahoma to end the season. So the losing can essentially continue for this football squad.
I mean, you go into that Alabama game. Alabama's off this week as well, and they get a much-needed bye after playing 5 straight very tough games. So Alabama's going to be rested and ready to go. That's probably going to be a close game. Arkansas plays everyone close. They just come out on the losing end every time. So, I mean, that's going to be a close game. And then the one to end of the year, that's also going to be a close game. So, I mean, it feels like a wasted year for sure for LSU. I mean, all of these preseason expectations, I bought into the hype. I named them my SEC champion.
Right.
And yet again, it just proves that Brian Kelly was just not able to get the job done. I don't know who's happier right now, LSU fans that he's gone or Notre Dame fans, because Marcus Freeman ended up being a little bit better than Brian Kelly.
Yep. And I literally just saw where about 30 minutes ago where Marcus Freeman actually came out with a statement after.
Oh, really?
I think he was just asking his normal weekly press conference about it, and say, he obviously expressed how said you don't want anybody to lose their job, the persons and their families and the people affected, especially somebody that at the end of the day. We're always rooting for Coach Kelly. He gave me an opportunity here when he was here at Notre Dame. He's always rooting for him, but it also this is this profession, and we've chosen this profession, and we know it's a result of choosing this profession. So I mean, it's all the main talking points that you would say, but no, you're right. I think that there's a lot of people who are saying probably the real star coach on that staff was not Brian Kelly, and Brian Kelly parlayed it to the LSU job, but Marcus Freeman has done nothing but basically win, took his team to the national championship, this close to a natty, if it wasn't for for Ohio State. So the question now is, of course, he doesn't think about it right now because he's going to be $54 million. But the question now is that what's next for Brian Kelly? Like, where does he go from here?
It's so weird because I feel like I've heard Penn State fans be like, oh, we want Brian Kelly.
Right.
If you're Penn State, and I'm going to go off here for a second.
Okay, I like it.
If you're Penn State, why would you want to hire the Nick Saban of James Franklin in Brian Kelly? Oh, you couldn't win a big game with James Franklin. Oh, here we go. Why don't you go ahead and take Brian Kelly, who ever since you could go back to his Notre Dame days and he still couldn't win a big game.
That's right.
Yeah, let's just throw him in here and see if we can, change it up or anything.
The Nick Saban of James Franklin's is great.
He's the Nick Saban of James Franklin's.
That's right.
I don't know how else to put it. The guy cannot win big games. You just fired a guy that cannot win a big game.
Right.
What are we doing?
No, I'm right there with you. And I think that the only reason, in my opinion, if you would hire Brian Kelly is if you think that he's a better cultural fit, because it really never felt like he fit at LSU.
There's no accent.
No.
In Penn State.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
You can't just fake a Southern accent. I mean, maybe get on a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm right there with you. I don't know where Penn State goes from here. I have an idea where LSU is going to try to go from here. It's the same place that Florida and Arkansas and all the other places will go to. So the question now is not only what's next for Brian Kelly, what's next for LSU, and who do you think is at the top of that board, so to speak?
I feel like it's got to be a guy right up the road in Lane Kiffin. Now I think, but here's the thing though. If Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss keep on winning, it is a major L for all of these programs that want to target him. And I mean, especially Florida, because Florida has been linked to him pretty much ever since the season started. Everyone knew that this would probably be Billy Napier's last year. But with how the transfer portal is set up now, January 2nd to the 16th.
Right.
At this rate, I would be shocked if Ole Miss wasn't in the college football playoff. I would honestly be shocked.
Absolutely.
If they don't make it, that's more impressive than if they actually made it.
Correct. Yes.
Because that would take the wheels falling off. And I think next week they've got South Carolina and then Citadel after.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss makes the playoff, Lane Kiffin's going to have to coach at least on December 16th or whenever it starts.
Yes. Yeah.
You cannot even if he goes out in the first round, that's still going to be he's going to get on campus around December 18th. that is nowhere near enough time for you to be able to evaluate everyone and make the necessary transfer portal. I don't care if he's the transfer portal king.
Right.
That's still just not enough time.
It's really not. And that's kind of the quagmire, a lot of these early firings.
Yeah.
Because the people that you are going after, all the good ones, are getting ready for the playoffs.
Right.
And if you're going into the NFL, the season doesn't end until late December, early January. And so it's hard to get those guys as well. So the best you can do is get a guy maybe in the group of 5 that their season ends early or a bowl game is early. Maybe a guy like John Summerall and a few others that have had, lots of talk about them going into the year. And you have to hope they don't make the playoff as well. So it's a really fine line here because you can't wait too long because, as you said, that transfer portal will close mid-January.
Yeah.
And if let's just say Lane has his team in the semifinals or in the national championship game, you
that's
won't
passed.
be able to talk. Yes. And the door's already closed on all of that as well. So still so much to get into as far as LSU's next coaching candidate for that program. Obviously, all eyes will be on that in college football.